This evening, before we lose the light, we're going to start working on getting the pond opened up, cleared up for some ice skating. It's been cold, so the ice should be all set up. So we're going to snow blow it. I haven't hooked up the lights yet, so we probably won't get the whole thing done tonight. But we'll get it snow blowed and we'll get the tires set up to kind of insulate the outlet pipe here. Because if this freezes up, then the ice will heave and pop around the edges, and then we get wavy ice. So let's get this thing cleaned up. It's a pretty even sheet, but it needs a lot of tune-up. So I'm gonna go around and really dress up the edges, kind of push them back, because once I put water down on here, anything I don't push back is gonna freeze into a rut that I'll probably never get out. But a lot of the work that needs to be done here is I got all kinds of pockets and divots all across here from being underneath a pine tree and snow falling on, kind of slush and freezing. We've also got the 2 old Ford Ranger truck tires put on here, and this is just a wood circle from Home Depot that just fits super convenient. But this allows just enough insulation when the sun hits it to keep this outlet pipe from freezing, so that amount of water will flow through here all winter. And ultimately, I just kind of chip a hole in the ice and I use my pump to pump water from underneath the ice back up on the ice to kind of give it that nice glass for skating. When that freezes, what tends to happen is if there's cracks in the ice, the water pressure underneath will force its way up, force its way through the cracks and leave ridges on the ice or pop the edges, and then the water comes up, flows back over, and we get ridges. And sometimes the water will come off the land and flow over, but as everything really freezes up in the winter, really the only water coming comes from underneath, and then I don't have these kind of damp scenarios that mess with the flow of the ice. So for now, I'm just going to finish cleaning up the edges and all that. I'm going to lose the light before I get a chance to put water down. So tomorrow I will get the lights up in the trees wired in, and we'll see about getting a sheet of ice down, and then we should have this ready for some skating this winter. Should be really nice. I'm gonna try it a little different this time for resurfacing the pond. I've never used this pump before, so first time. It's a Generac pump. It's an 80 gallon a minute, where the electric pump I usually use is, I want to say 80 gallon an hour. I'll have to check that. But what we're going to try here is knock that hole in the ice open a little more so we can put the suction hose down in there. And then we'll see if we can start to resurface this. But I gotta go find a container so I can grab some water so I can prime this. Okay, I got that chopped open enough. Grab myself a nice palm tree, wishful thinking cup so I can prime the pump. So let's do that. Let's get this pump primed and let's see how it starts and goes. Try not to fill the pump with ice cubes. All right, I filled it to just below the discharge here. Let's tighten that down, or I'm gonna get soaked. Try it again. All right. Let's give some thought to this guy here. Tell you what, it is a cold day to have water spraying all over my fingers. All right, let's try this again. You know, if I let it keep going like that, it might do the whole job for me. All right, well that'll glass the pond quick, but I don't want to put all this dirt on top of the ice because that'll just melt. So I think what's happening is my intake without the filter vibrated into the bottom of the pond and just started dredging for gold. So I'm gonna go get that piece, put it on, try again. The other thing is this 15-foot hose might be enough to push water all the way down, but probably for this pond it'd be a whole lot easier if I had a 25 or even a 50-foot hose. All right, let me get the filter to put on the bottom of that so I don't suck up as much of the bottom. And I think I've got a longer discharge hose somewhere, so I'm gonna take a look for that. There's something else I should make a note of here. With the other pump that I had been using, it doesn't draw water out from under the pond faster than it's filling up. And you'll see here, I've actually drawn down that the water isn't flowing out anymore. And if I draw too much water too fast, I'll probably get the whole ice sheet to sit and crack in the middle. So that's also something to think about here. All right, here we go. Let's try again. Choke on. Button on. Oop, let's see. That was entertaining. Because my discharge hose was kinked, I ended up blowing the top off the primer. Okay. With that in mind, oops, let's straighten out the discharge hose. So far, I'm not so sure that fast beats the quality of the little electric pump for just putting a nice little glaze on everything. Okay, pump on. Discharge still leaking even with this one. Okay, and now I don't think we have any kinks in the hose. Here we go again. See if I can direct some water down the end there. This is a 50-foot hose. And you know, if I don't pull up the bottom of the pond, or pull so much water out of the pond that I collapse the ice. Maybe if I combine that 15-foot with this 50-foot, I'll be able to reach everything. Although I think if I keep pushing water, I'll be able to hit the back end there. So there's a bit of another challenge as well. I can't bend this blue hose to really redirect the water because it'll kink on itself, and then I'll blow the top back off the primer. So I'm not yet sure if this is really the right idea for this. So if you saw that, again, as soon as I got a kink in that hose, it blew the top back off. Actually, this time, it blew the top literally off. And I found my rubber gasket on the ice over there. I don't think you picked it up on camera, but we got a big crack. Went right down the center of the ice as we were pumping the water. And my hunch is because I was pumping so much water out from underneath so fast that it lost support. Now, this is also interesting because there was no water flowing. Ice cracked, now there's water flowing. I have to assume that the center of the ice dipped and put pressure on the water, so it's squirting water out now. So, we got some pros and cons with this one. All right, some closing thoughts on it here. I just tried to hook the shorter hose back up here, the 15-foot, to kind of get the last corner. I've definitely pulled enough water out from under the ice that I can hear the ice settling and popping and cracking. So I gotta take a break there. But even this hose wants to whip. And if it whips and it kinks, you gotta rush over and unkink it before you blow the top off. And that top comes off with some force. You could take that in the face and really kind of hurt yourself. So gonna have to think about this a little more. It's great to be able to put a lot more water down and fast. I mean, if there wasn't a hose kinking challenge, you'd have this thing covered with a ½ inch of water in 5 minutes. But I need probably a more rigid hose solution for this, and I got to give some thought to this primer top here, because as I keep blowing this off, and we've seen now that I've blown the chain in half, I don't want to take that thing in the face rushing over to hit the off switch. So I'm thinking maybe some more of this rigid hose, which could be a pain to work with when it's frozen and cold, because when I try to uncoil that, I might end up flipping the pump over. But I could screw that pump to a wider board or something and set it off in the snowbank where we don't have that. So for now, I'm gonna let all this ice and water set up. It's not a great covering it all right now. I'm glad I played with this on a day where it's about, I don't know, 25, 27 degrees, which is not a great day for making ice. Really, I like to do this when it's 10 degrees and there's a wind because it sets up fast. But I'm glad I was learning before it was freezing cold, especially when that pump kept blowing its top. So that's all for now. This one needs tuning to really be effective. Ever have things so cold you can't turn them off? Can't turn off the radio. Aha! All right, Papa, let's go get some lunch. Let's go.